Yes, I know those wintertime blues have started to set in for many of us, and we're all starting to get a little stir crazy and trying to figure out any way we can to go ahead and get that boat back out there on the water. Welcome back, crew, to this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Now, the wintertime blues can absolutely cause us to do some things that really aren't quite rational. I mean, it doesn't take much for you all of a sudden to see an opportunity where you can get your boat or watercraft out and you're like, man, I need to jump on it. Kind of like that time when the interstates got flooded, you decided, you know what, let me go ahead and take the kayak out there. That water's probably a little warmer than the water on my lake. But no matter what, however you decide to get back out there on the water, the one thing we always ask you to do is go ahead and do it safely. I mean, safety is absolutely paramount in boating. No matter what, make sure you have that life jacket or that flotation vest to make sure you're always secure. Now, of course, safety is not just when you're on the water. Even when you're out there towing, you always want to make sure you have those safety chains and those rear straps on the boat as well to make sure nothing goes wrong. Now, of course, another thing you can do to try and add to that safety factor as you start to get back out there on the water is remember to go ahead and take it easy getting back out. Many of us have been on a long winter break. Some of you may not have even touched your boat for upwards of 6 months at this point in time, which means some of your skills may be a little rusty. So go ahead and take your time, ease back into boating, try not to put yourself in high stress or high pressure situations immediately. Especially early in the season, take that time when it's a little slower out on the water to go out there and reacquaint yourself with the boat, how it handles and how it performs. It's a whole lot easier to maneuver around in an empty marina, relearning the vessel, than it is during the beginning of the summer when it's packed, all of a sudden just to figure out your skills aren't what they used to be. And of course, we're gonna make mistakes as we get back out there on the water. Be sure to pack those checklists because you're gonna forget something if you don't. And the last thing you wanna do is get out there on the water and get smacked in the face with something you forgot to take care of. So definitely make sure to have that checklist. Check the basics. Make sure you check the drain plug. Make sure you have your flotation devices. Make sure you're wearing a safety kill switch lanyard if your vessel is so equipped. Remember, in many places, depending on the size of your boat, it is actually the law that you have to wear that lanyard. Now, I know wearing that lanyard is not a whole lot of fun. It's kind of like a life jacket, being honest. Many people don't wear them when they're out there on the water, even though everybody should. I mean, the reality is a life jacket might not be the most comfortable thing to spend your whole day in when you're out there enjoying your time on the boat, but it's a whole lot more comfortable than spending the rest of your days at the bottom of the lake because something went wrong and you didn't have it on. And the safety kill switch lanyard is the exact same thing. Yes, it's going to restrict your movement around the boat, but the reality is if something ever goes wrong once and you're not wearing that, you're going to regret that probably for the rest of your life. Now, speaking of getting back into boating and having regrets for the rest of your life, some other mistakes people will make early on in the season as boating starts to come back around, that's going to be taking the boat out without checking the marine forecast. That's right, somebody's going to wake up in the morning, step out on their back patio, feel the weather, say, man, it is 70 degrees, it is boating day, without actually going and checking the marine forecast to see what the conditions are actually like out on the water. And one of the last things we'll talk about today that people will honestly forget to do because they get excited that the spring is coming and they see that first warm day and just want to jump out there and get on the boat, that's going to be jumping out there, launching that boat without actually checking and making sure the boat is ready to be launched and ready to be used. Too many times people think, hey, I parked it in the fall and everything was working. So they think they're going to be able to just jump right back out there in the spring and everything will be working as well. And that's just not the case. And the last thing you want to do is get out there on the water and the next thing you know, find out something's not working and somebody's got to tow you in. And speaking of something else that people forget, that's that tow insurance. Make sure you renewed yours. Most people wind up buying it during the spring, a lot of times around boat show season. So always remind yourself that you need to in the next boat show season. Go ahead and renew it so you don't have to get towed by somebody else out there on the water. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Adam Coolidge, Ben Knight, Bronson Forney, Captain Nada, and Mucho Take It Easy did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.